goes beyond the aneurysm initiation, because high shear stress and high positive gradient can be also found in already formed aneurysm, like in the inflow zone of a circular aneurysm. So this inflow zone is subjected to the impingement, and so that this, I believe, is where you have the growth and regrowth of aneurysm after coiling. And also with a complex geometry aneurysm sac, especially also in terminal aneurysms, highly irregular aneurysms, you could have direct impingement at the wall. So this could be contributing to rupture. Now I'm going to switch gear to discuss our research about aneurysm rupture. Our general approach is to analyze clinical database of three-dimensional imaging, and we get segmented 3D geometry, which is used for morphometric analysis as well as CFD. And we can do hemodynamic characterization based on the CFD. We can also do virtual intervention. I don't have time to discuss our virtual intervention like this, stent and floated diverters, which we put in the model. Here are some recent projects that we've done in this direction. I will just touch upon three of them. They're related. The first study was done actually when Dr. Mr. Kim was at my lab, and he started this idea. Based on morphology, see if we could develop some kind of a matrix that can eventually predict rupture risk. So first matrix that we considered was size. Well, that's because the clinicians are currently just using size to decide, well, when it is greater than 10 millimeter, it's dangerous, you should fix it. But every neurosurgeon also knows that there are a lot of aneurysms that are smaller than 10 millimeters and they rupture. So size is not really good. And what was really inspiring us was Dr. Ujie's pioneering work, a series of landmark papers about aspect ratio. That is the aneurysm size divided by the neck size. That got us started. This is much better criteria. And we further investigated a series of parameters to describe the shape, like undulation index, elliptic index, and non-spherical index. And we also came up with a size ratio, and this is a simple measure, but very interesting. It's just aneurysm size, but now you divide it by the parent vessel size, okay? And furthermore, furthermore, some angles. So the question is, which of these morphological parameters are significant predictors of rupture? We really cannot predict rupture, but maybe which of them can discriminate ruptured aneurysms from unruptured? So what we did was we first analyzed just 45 aneurysms. We examined all these parameters. Here, first use a univariate test, student T, and see which ones are significant. And we found that size and vessel angles are not significant, so they drop out. They cannot really distinguish the ruptured from unruptured. And the remaining are all significant, and the size ratio was the most significant. And then we did multivariate analysis, the RC analysis, to find out which ones are independently significant, because there can be internal correlation among different factors, and also want to find out thresholds that could discriminate ruptured from unruptured. And the final result, we obtained this model for assessing rupture odds. The odds depend on the undulation index and the size ratio. The higher the undulation index and the higher the size ratio, the higher the odds that the aneurysm is ruptured. So the main result from this analysis was the size ratio, because it seems to be really simple and easy to measure. In fact, we published a couple of papers based on 2D angiogram, just measure the size ratio, aneurysm size versus the vessel size, and they're significant. And the optimal threshold to separate the ruptured from unruptured size ratio equals 2. Now, recently, this has not been published in the process of revising. We are lumping together many hemodynamic factors and morphological factors, and since we used analysis on 119 aneurysm cases, okay? And so not only morphological factors, but also hemodynamic factors, and to see if we can find which ones are best discriminant. These are the distributions of aneurysms. Okay, we have both terminal and the side wall. Altogether, we have about 38 ruptured, and the rest are unruptured. And we did morphological analysis, and we did CFD in each one of them. So we did the flow analysis, and so the result. First of all, qualitatively, we found that in terms of hemodynamics, these are the example of the ruptured aneurysms, and these are the unruptured aneurysms. We found that the ruptured ones tend to have complex flow patterns. For example, here you have one vortex and the second vortex, okay? We also have multiple vortices. And they tend to have a slower flow. You see the blue is slower velocity. With unruptured ones, usually it's one single coherent vortex, and the flow is faster, simpler flow pattern. And quantitatively, we see, the ruptured ones are subjected to much lower wall shear stress, these blue ones. And these are the, these are the unruptured ones. And also we look at the oscillating shear index, which, through one cardiac cycle, if the flow is going back and forth near the wall. So the oscillatory shear index, or OSI, in the ruptured ones is much higher than the unruptured one. The statistical results here, we put them together. We size and aspect ratio and undulation index, elliptic index, size ratio, and then the rest are hemodynamics factors like shear stress, maximum shear stress, low shear stress area, OSI, shear stress gradient, number of vortices, and this is the resident time. Okay, the red ones are significant ones, significant parameters in the univariate, just one parameter. So they are significant, separating the ruptured from unruptured. And then in the multivariate analysis, then we can take care of any interdependence. So we found independently significant metrics. And we evaluated the multivariate in just the morphological group and just the hemodynamics group and combined. Okay, so we have 3 models. So these are the 3 models. In the morphology group, only size ratio is important. Okay, the odds of rupture increases with size ratio. In the hemodynamics group, we have just 2. The wall shear stress. Here we have negative. Okay, so the lower the wall shear stress, the higher the rupture odds. And OSI, the oscillatory shear index, the higher the OSI, the higher the odds. And then combined, all 3 of them are maintained. So the conclusion from this is that the size ratio is the only independent morphological parameter. WSS and OSI are the only independent significant hemodynamic factors, and all 3 are maintained. And these 3 are very similar in their performance. For example, if you have a cutoff of 0.5 as a predicted probability of rupture status, then all these 3 models have a high sensitivity around 75% and specificity around 84%. And the AUC values, they are all very high, between 0.83 and 0.89. There's no significant difference. That means they're all good models. Okay.